Sebastian Roman, speaking to you live from our studios in New York City, New York. Today, we're going to present history in the making. The Supreme Court case, Ogden versus Gibbons, is going to change commerce, coastal commerce, forever. Ogden received a license by the state of New York that gave him exclusive rights to operate steamboats in the New York waters. To oppose this, Gibbons then pursued a similar license from the federal government. This created competition between both sides, and Ogden sued Gibbons in the New York Court of Chancery. This court sided with Ogden, and the case went up to the New York Court of Errors, and the result was the same. The case went up all the way to the Supreme Court because the problem was not only about steamboats. It was if a state law has the power to oppose the Congress authority to regulate state commerce. In a little while, we will talk to the people involved in this case.
I am Chief John Marshall, and I am one of the most influential justices to ever exist. And today, I'm going to decide this case based only on the Constitution.
Order in the court. You may take your seats, gentlemen. This case is whether the state law can oppose the national law. Ogden, you go first.
Thank you, Your Honor. I think it is clear in the case of who controls the waters that I'm clearly the one who won. I came to the government first, and I think I should be the ones navigating the waters. It is stated that New York should have control of its waters, and I came to it first. Any objections?
You may go next, Gibbons.
Thank you, Your Honor. I do recognize that Ogden got permission from the New York government first. However, I got permission or a license from the national government. The national government law is always above the state law. Therefore, the state law can never overrule a national law. Besides, the government can control interstate coastal commerce. Thank you, Your Honor.
With this gathered information, I will decide whether Gibbons or Ogden will win. Thank you for your time. I will return. Gentlemen, you may take your seats. This Supreme Court has sided with Gibbons, for the federal law is above the state law, and the federal law is the only one who can regulate interface coastal commerce. Case closed.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ogden. I have some questions. Would you like to answer?
Sure.
So the first question for today is it true that you attempted to fine Mr. Gibbons for using your waters?
I did try to find Mr. Gibson for using my waters because I felt that he needed to pay since I have a state monopoly on the waters, even though he has a federal license.
The second question is, do you believe that your actions were justified due to you having the monopoly?
Yes, I believe it was justified because my monopoly was in New York, and that's where the accident occurred.
Question number 3 is, why do you believe that Mr. Gibbons appealed the state of New York's decision?
I believe that he didn't feel that the New York decision was right, so he appealed it to get another chance in the Supreme Court. So because of that, he was able to win, and I still don't believe that the Supreme Court decision was the right choice.
Good afternoon, Mr. Gibbons.
Good afternoon, sir.
This is reporter Sebastian for the news. I have a series of questions we have to make you after the court case. Our first question is, why do you believe that Ogden's monopoly doesn't give him the right to remove you from federal waters?
Well, because, first of all, I had a federal coastal license that would let me move from the coast of state to the coast of another state.
I understand. Mr. Gibbons, I got a second question for you. Why do you believe Ogden was granted the permanent injunction?
Well, first of all, I believe that Ogden's monopoly was invalid because he got permission from the state of New York, while I got permission from the federal government.
I understand. Mr. Gibbons, question number 3. What made you appeal to the state of New York's conclusion?
Well, what made me appeal to that was that the fact that the national government can regulate interstate coastal commerce, but the New York government can't, so therefore Ogden's license has to be invalid.
Yes, sir. Question number 4, Mr. Gibbons. Do you feel Daniel Webster defended your case accurately?
Well, I feel confident that Daniel Webster was able to defend my case in the terms of showing that the power of the federal government and the way of traveling from state to state is.
All right, last question, Mr. Gibbons. Do you believe the Supreme Court conclusion is what it is best for the country?
Well, I feel that the Supreme Court's decision to overrule any state rule compared to a federal rule is really good for the nation because it really shows the power of the U.S. government over the power of a single state.
All right, thank you for your time, Mr. Gibbons.
Yeah, you sure.
I, John Marshall, side with Gibbons in this case because federal law is always above state law.
This is Sebastian Roman speaking to you one last time. The Supreme Court case, Gibbons versus Ogden, was a landmark case because it showed the American people that national law is always above state law, and the national government is the only body of government that can regulate interstate coastal commerce.
Yeah. All right, 1, 2, 3, action. I am Chief.
2, 3, action.
Question number 3 is, Mr. Gibbons, do you?
Mr. Ogden. I'll say Mr. Ogden. All right. All right, don't make noise, niggas. Shh.